didn't exist. Under this system, enforcement of the laws was a universal duty. Every male citizen had a civic responsibility to serve on a watch, act as a constable, serve on a grand jury, or join a posse when necessary to apprehend a dangerous criminal. The word police wasn't used as a noun. It was a verb, meaning to watch over or monitor the public health and safety. This isn't to say that the colonial era's most individualized private methods of law enforcement would work today. As American towns grew from close-knit communities of people of similar ethnicities, with shared traditions, values, and religion, to cities whose diverse populations of immigrants had none of that in common, centralized police forces emerged to preserve order and enforce a common set of laws. Once neighbors stopped speaking the same language and worshiping in the same buildings, shunning and social stigmatization lost their effectiveness. Even so, Roots's question is a useful starting point for this book because it shows just how far we have come. The founders and their contemporaries would probably have seen even the early 19th century police forces as a standing army, and a particularly odious one at that. Just before the American Revolution, it wasn't the stationing of British troops in the colonies that irked patriots in Boston and Virginia. It was England's decision to use the troops for everyday law enforcement. This wariness of standing armies was born of experience and a study of history. Early American statesmen like Madison, Washington, and Adams were well versed in the history of armies in Europe, especially in ancient Rome. If even the earliest attempts at centralized police forces would have alarmed the founders, today's policing would have terrified them. Today in America, SWAT teams violently smash into private homes more than 100 times per day. The vast majority of these raids are to enforce laws against consensual crimes. In many cities, police departments have given up the traditional blue uniforms for battle dress uniforms, modeled after soldier attire. Police departments across the country now sport armored personnel carriers designed for use on a battlefield. Some have helicopters, tanks, and Humvees. They carry military-grade weapons. Most of this equipment comes from the military itself. Many SWAT teams today are trained by current and former personnel from Special Forces units like the Navy SEALs or Army Rangers. National Guard helicopters now routinely swoop through rural areas in search of pot plants, and when they find something, send gun-toting troops dressed for battle rappelling down to chop and confiscate the contraband. But it isn't just drugs. Aggressive SWAT-style tactics are now used to raid neighborhood poker games, doctors' offices, bars and restaurants, and head shops, despite the fact that the targets of these raids pose little threat to anyone. This sort of force was once reserved as the last option to defuse a dangerous situation. It's increasingly used as the first option to apprehend people who aren't dangerous at all. There's now a dominant military culture within modern police agencies. Go to one of the many SWAT conferences and SWAT team competitions held throughout the year, and you'll find exhibit halls teeming with military weapons, gear, clothing, and imagery. The vendors at these events know their market. They use war imagery to ply their goods because that's what makes cops and police departments want to buy them. Many sell the same products to both the military and civilian police agencies. In the 1990s and 2000s, the company Heckler & Koch marketed its MP5 semi-automatic weapon with the slogan, "From the Gulf War to the Drug War, Battle Proven." Publications like SWAT Magazine feature ads that emphasize knocking heads and kicking ass and print articles with headlines like "Go for the Throat" and "Warrior Mindset." Today, the company that has trained more police officers in lethal force than any other stresses that police officers aren't shooting people enough and teaches them to get over the natural human tendency to hesitate before snuffing out another life. Older police officers interviewed for this book say they couldn't remember a single time they or a colleague killed a dog. One recent study found that in Los Angeles alone, police killed about 60 dogs per year. Another found a strong correlation between police militarization